Hey folks, welcome to Man Cave Makings with me, Gus. I'm in my man cave, my natural environment. Probably somewhere I spend a little bit too much time, but never mind. I was doing some welding last week and I came away with a kind of stiff upper back, some sore shoulders. I was thinking, it's just the cold, it's 1.5 degrees, 2 degrees here, it's middle of winter. But no, it's not. Something far more awesome. Well, not the sore back, but what we're going to do to fix it. So if I get into a welding position, like this, it's a nice position, but look at the shape of my back. I'm all hunched up and bent over, and I'd forgotten the very first rule of welding, which is get comfy, you're going to be there a while. Can't do much about my welding bench itself. It has to be at the same height as my workshop top so I can lay sheets and things like that. So, has everything to do with my stool. Just an old bar stool I had from a house I owned years ago, but it served its purpose quite well. But biggest problem is it's not height adjustable. And yes, I know we could just cut the feet off of this thing and make it the right size, but who wants to do that when you've got the option or great excuse to make something a bit more bespoke, a bit more welder benchy, man cave-ish. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Couple of things I need to incorporate. I need to incorporate a padded seat. Might do a bit of fancy stitching in that. Certainly needs to be sort of height adjustable, you know, getting a bit lower. Then you could come up a bit and just so you could get up and down on it. I want an industrial feel to this stool. Obviously this is chrome, the bit sort of bling. Not quite a fan of that. Maybe a little bit of patina adding into this, I'm not sure yet. Three-legged, I think, as well. But yeah, I think we'll develop it as we go. So let's get in it. So I use absolutely everything in my workshop, including bike wheels, bits of wire, and I just shape and form these to get the radiuses that I need. I keep everything, old tops off of aerosol cans or glue sticks or whatever that is, just to get the radiuses, just to get the shapes that I need. And all I'm doing is just doing it in pencil, overlaying it with pen, and it's as easy as that to make a template.
And even with all that marking out, still made a mistake. Never mind.
Handy little tip here I learnt from Jody over at weldingtipsandtricks.com. If you've not been over to his website, go check that out. I'll put a little link in the description below. But essentially we're just putting some light tacks across all three parts here. Remember, I'm doing a three-legged stool. So all that allows me to do is plenish these things up all to exactly the same dimensions as we cut them out, get in with the die grinder, the files and all that kind of good stuff, and all you're doing after that is just breaking those little tack welds off, and then you've got three parts that are exactly the same, very consistent, and it's a great way of doing it. So just using my cross cutter here to cut the different sizes of flat bar that I'm working with. Made up a couple of jigs for each size as well. Fairly straightforward process, but just using what I've got around the workshop to its best use.
There we go. 3 of everything all ready to rock and roll. The little jig that I made up served its purpose well. Might have made a better job if I'd had one of those flat bar rollers. Bit expensive though, I think, for what I need it for. But yeah, all we've got to do now is tack it and weld it.
Now all the parts are nice and clean, it's onto the assembly, and all I'm doing here is just setting up the little jigs, getting it all true and square before tack welding up. Because it's only thin gauge material, I only work in 2 or 3 inch sections and then move to a different section of the piece. stops all the warpage. I'm also using a purge box here, really simple to use, but effectively gets argon to the back of the piece, stops the oxidation, and makes for a really nice clean weld when you flip it over. Well, maybe a MIG might be useful here in this scenario. I don't really know. I've never used a MIG machine, so maybe it's something you guys can try. I'm a TIG man through and through, always have been. I just prefer the type of welding that you can do with a TIG machine. Is that purge box, just making sure that that flip side doesn't get oxidized. I decided to scallop the legs, and I'm really glad that I did that. It's given me this lovely design over just the straight flat bar you see on the left here, kind of almost like an axe head, which kind of gives me this industrial feel that I was going for. Tricky wee job getting the seat base and the screw rod together to stay on the square. Lots of little tack welds 180 degrees apart from each other as you go round. Join the dots up, keeps it nice and square. As soon as I did this, as soon as I put these nuts onto the legs themselves and it started to look a bit like a stool, I was just so excited, because obviously you put some time and energy into thinking about the design and what it was going to look like, and lo and behold, as it starts to pull it all together, it starts to look like a stool. Keeping with the industrial theme, I thought I'd make a rebar footrest, just a little bit up on the stool. Not quite realising how difficult rebar is to work with, but I gave it a go anyway. Essentially, a load of heat, a decent welded jig, and a load of body weight. Jobs are good. As with everything else on this stool, wasn't quite sure whether this would be a good choice or not, but after I had given them a really good clean down, tack welded it in place, stood back, yeah, definitely the right choice. And there we have it. Look, it's all finished, it's all done, welded up, and I am super chuffed with how this has come out. From the top section here, how I've done this kind of scalloping, and it looks more like an axe head, into this lovely kind of shape into the legs themselves. A little bit futuristic potentially, maybe War of the Worlds type look, but overall still that industrial feel that I was going for at the start of the project. The rebar makes and ties this bottom section in just lovely, and with the way that edges all kind of catch the light and looks, it just pops out the bottom section here at all. So yeah, really chuffed with how that looks, and the next thing really is to get the seat stool top onto the bar that goes down onto the two nuts, and the top itself. Remember I was saying about the fancy stitching I was going to do? Well, this is the fancy stitching I'm talking about. This took me quite a time to learn to do. I have never used a sewing machine before. I had certainly not done any upholstery before. So if you want to see how to make one of these yourself, check the description below. I'll put the video link into the separate video I've done on this altogether. But this really does add a little bit of luxury into my welding bench seat, and it's certainly very comfortable to sit on, which is the main thing. So put those two components together, stick it on, and we're all done. Well, we're not really all done yet, because remember I was saying at the start, the reason I'd gone away from that chrome look was that it was a bit shiny, a bit bling, and to be fair, this is a little bit bling still. So I could leave it as I've done with my welding bench, just to kind of naturally get this surface rust or the patina up, but I think we're going to do something a little bit different. Again, something I've never done before, which is more important to me, learning something new. I'm going to try this stuff here, which is antiquing fluid, and it turns the base steel metal from this silver look back to a black lanish. So I'm going to black lanish the outside leading edges, the center section here, and all of the rebar, just to match in with the black top. And then I'm going to get busy with a blowtorch, and I'm going to get the blowtorch and the heat into the lighter gauge material. It's only 1.6 mil sheet that I'm working with, so it won't take too much temperature. And as the temperature rises, it changes the colour and base colour. And I'm aiming for that sort of petrol blue, purple feel to this, and give this visual effect of this, you know, when you do a welding seam and you get that lovely kind of rainbow effect. Well, I'm wanting that in the inside of all of that. So that's what I'm going to aim for here. And then once we're all done that, just simply rattle can a top coat over the whole stool, just so it stops that rust coming through, and we should all be done. So we're getting busy with the blowtorch, and it's quite a simple process really. The change of colour happens quite rapidly, from a sort of autumnal brown into a purple onto the blue that I was looking for. I guess you've got to really just take your time and kind of add the heat and take it away, add the heat and take it away, until you start seeing that change. As soon as you do, then take the heat away, and it'll obviously change the colour itself as that heat intensifies on the piece. Having never used this antiquing fluid before, I wasn't quite sure about the process, but essentially just followed the instructions. I did apply it twice, just because I wasn't quite sure how deep I wanted the dark tone to come through, but I just took it off with cold water, reapplied it again, and I got this really nice dark lanish with still some of that speckle of the under steel coming through, which really does set it off. Really pleased with it. Next up, just a simple rattle can top coat. Gives that lovely nice sheen to the whole stool, and we're all done. And here we have it, guys. It's all finished, my adjustable height welding stool. And this time, I actually do mean it's all finished. Really like how the bluing's coming out onto the base material here. This black lanish that the antiquing fluid has given that sheen. Really like that. It's kind of taken it to that really industrial feel I was going for at the start of the project. Didn't really know what I was doing at the start. Kind of developed it as I went along, but I really like that as an idea, as a concept. Kind of learn as you go. Hope you maybe have taken some good information from the video, and if you have, maybe leave me a comment in the description below. That'll be really appreciated. Don't think there's much more except for me to get sat on this bad boy, get some comfy welding on the go. No more sore shoulders for me, let's hope so. Thanks very much for watching, really appreciate it, and I hope to catch you again.